Hi, it's Molly and welcome back to my channel. Welcome here if it is your first time. Today's tutorial is all about this shimmery taupe eye look. Before we get started, you can find me on Instagram at Girl Get Glamorous and on Pinterest at Molly Gardner 1. And on the blog, there are over 300 posts, so you can go check those out in between videos. Let's get started. I'm gonna start out by priming my eyelids with my favorite eye primer. Just so the shadow goes on a little bit more smoothly, I take the tiniest amount of powder. I mean, we are talking like nothing, and I just very gently dust that over my lids, and that just makes it so that the shadow doesn't get patchy and skip. I'm going to place this right in the crease of my eye, starting at the center. And as you can see, that doesn't add a ton of color. It's just enough to define my crease, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then I take a large fluffy brush with no additional product on it, and I just buff that out. You want to use a shade that's about one shade deeper than your skin tone, so whatever that is for you. I always make sure my pencils are super sharp to start, and I'm going to get in as close as I can to my lash line. When I get to right here, because my eyes are downturned, I'm just gonna bring my eyeliner up a little bit. If your eyes are downturned like mine, you can do the same eyeliner trick. If your eyes turn up at the ends, you can just do your normal liner. I'm taking some of that Barcelona Beach shade and buffing this out because it's a gel liner and I don't want it to set without being blended. And we'll go back in and add more in a minute, but for right now, I just like that liner to be a little bit blended. Same thing on the other side. I'm getting it as close to my lash line as possible so I don't use up too much lid space. If you're wondering what direction to go with your liner, just always follow your lower lash line, and that will help you figure out your liner. And once again, I'm taking some of the Makeup Geek Barcelona Beach, and I'm just smudging it into the liner. I'm going to take this same pencil brush. This is the Tom Ford brush number 14. You can use any pencil brush. I'll list a Wayne Goss one that's excellent and also one from e.l.f. below. And I'm going to take more of that Barcelona Beach shade, and I'm going to bring this into my outer corner and place the shadow, drawing it in. So I'm bringing my taupe shade in. And I'm going to blend that out more in a minute, but we'll let that sit for a second and do the same thing on the other side. And you can see how this is just lifting my eye a little bit, and this is going to create a nice structural shape for our shimmer taupe shade. So I'm going to go in a little bit more with this matte taupe shade. And you can see how, because this is on a more densely packed brush, the shade is turning out a little bit deeper than when we use that fluffy brush in the crease. It's more diffused with that fluffy brush and a little bit more intense with this pencil brush. And I'm going to bring a little bit more on this side, and I'm going to bring a little bit into my bottom lash line. I have already done my concealer. And I'm stopping right about where the colored part of my eye is for the matte shade. If you want this look to be a little bit smokier, you can add some liner in the lower lash line. If you prefer to have this a more daytime bright look, you can skip this step. And I'm just making sure that this is connected with the liner on my top lash line as well as at the bottom. And you can see already how that's a little bit more smoky, a little bit more nighttime. I prefer a taupe eyeliner for this look because I think it blends in with the whole look really well without overwhelming. If you want a really intense nighttime look, feel free to switch out for a matte black or a matte brown liner. But for me, I choose taupe. We're gonna add some shimmer in now. This is a synthetic eyeshadow brush and the shape is meant for packing on lid color. I've already made this damp, but as you can see, there's no water coming out. I will link this below. Unfortunately, of course, this shade has been discontinued. Such a bummer, but I have found it from reputable sellers on eBay, new, just they buy closeouts. And that's actually where I bought this one, just to make sure it was authentic, because I had another one that I loved and I just wanted to make sure this was the real deal. So I'll make sure to link that below. But like I said at the beginning, you don't have to use the same products as me. So just grab a wet dry shadow that's a shimmery taupe shade. I prefer the wet dry shadows for an extreme metallic taupe, but you can grab any shimmering taupe shade for this look. When I reach the matte shade that we put on earlier, that's where I'm going to stop. And as you can see, I'm just following my natural lid shade to apply this color. I'm not going above it or below it, just right up into that crease. Using this same color and this same brush, just the other side of it now, I'm gonna wet this side. And you can also wet these with a little bit of setting spray. And now we'll start buffing this into the lower lash line. And I love how the liner brush gets this really close to the lash line. I don't want a ton of shadow on the bottom for this look, just a little bit. Okie doke. Now I'm going to grab a clean brush. This one has no product on it and it's kind of stiff, and I'm gonna use the pointed side to buff out that line at the lower lash line. I like to buff these lines out so that there's no harsh edge between the shadow and my skin. And as you can see, I'm not going over all of the shadow. I'm just going over where the shadow hits my skin and stops to buff out that line. Because I don't want to buff out all of the eyeshadow, I just want to buff out that edge. I love how metallic-y this shadow is. So I just want to make sure that the edge is blended. I'm grabbing a small clean crease brush now. There's no product on here. This is the Wayne Goss 04, and I'm going to start to blend out that edge now. So as you can see, there's no product. I'm just blending out what's already on there. And I'm just bringing that shadow back in so that we get a really nice blend. As you can see, the brush is barely touching my skin. I'm not pressing it so that the bristles bend at all. I'm just gently taking it and blending that shadow that we placed earlier in, blending it into my lower lash line. This eye is a little bit smaller than this eye for me, so I'm extending this one just ever so slightly past my crease point so that it matches this side and that they look the same. If you want to add even more depth to your crease, you can take a slightly warmer, darker shade. This is Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek. I'm going to use the same Crease 04 brush and just get the tiniest amount of powder. I'm just lightly tapping that twice, and I will place a little bit of that right here in the front part of my crease. And as you can see, that just sort of warms up the look, intensifies that crease a little bit. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I stop right at this part of my eye because I don't want a lot of warmth in the outer corner. This is my clean fluffy brush again. I just like to add a little intensity there. This is the Natasha Denona Diamond and Glow Mini. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this shimmer shade. This is actually meant to be a highlighter. I think it's a little bit too much for me for a highlighter, but I love this as a shimmery eye topper. I'm just taking a little bit directly on my finger, and I'm gonna tap this in the center part of my eye. So when you're looking forward, you're gonna tap it directly where your iris is, right in the center of your eyelid. And I'm being very careful to only tap it on the lid, not get it into the crease at all. And you can see how that just overall brightens the look of the eye. I like how this catches the light. And on my pinky finger, I will do the same thing right at the bottom center of my eye. I'm gonna add some individual lashes and mascara now and then finish the look. I'm gonna let those dry and then we'll add mascara. As long as your glue is really dry and you're just lightly pressing the lashes together, you won't pull any up. Normally with mascaras, I'm like, but I will say this formula and the brush are absolutely insane. It's very gentle on eyes and the ingredients are very skin and environmentally friendly. It's a green mascara. So with individual lashes, I like to apply mascara and then just comb them down as well. That way they blend together nicely. I love how this wand applies mascara. And then it has a comb section, so you can just comb right through. The lazy part of me just loves that. I don't even grab another eyelash comb. This is just a sample, but I would 100% buy a full size. It's amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It's one of my favorite looks, so I'm happy to be able to share it with you. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.